Hey, in this video, I'm going to introduce emotion freedom technique, commonly known as tapping. Emotion freedom technique, or EFT, is a powerful, novel, self-administered intervention that you can use by yourself. It's very safe. So this is a thing that you can try at home safely without fear of abreaction or undesirable side effects. So in this video, I'm going to introduce this technique to you. I'm going to briefly review the clinical research findings on this technique and a little bit of the history and explanation of how it works and why it works. In the next video, I will demonstrate the technique so that you will be able to use it on your own. And how cool is that? So, as I say, EFT, it's a novel approach. It's very unorthodox looking. It's very peculiar looking. And so I do ask that you kind of put aside your critical, this will never work, this is stupid, perspective or self-talk, and give it a try and pay attention to what you find as you use it, and ideally use it regularly, daily, for 5 minutes. So it's not a big deal. Emotion freedom technique has been researched in 10 countries by 60 investigators, and there are literally thousands of research studies now on the effectiveness of EFT applied to different conditions or different ailments that people suffer with. So here's a really brief rundown. EFT has been found to be effective at treating post-traumatic stress disorder. It's been found to bring a 40% reduction in anxiety symptoms, a 57% reduction in pain symptoms. It reduces blood pressure. It reduces cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone marker, one of the stress hormones in our circulatory system. And it's been known to, one of the best research area is food cravings. There's a professor at a university in Australia that's done extensive research in chronic pain treatment, also in food cravings. And this researcher has found a 74% reduction in food cravings. Chronic pain, I've already spoken to. At a biochemical level, it's found to increase immune system markers by a whopping 113%. And just creates happiness and calm and relaxation. So it's remarkable in its effectiveness across a wide variety of syndromes, disorders, and issues, both physical and mental or emotional or psychological. So how does it work? Well, you may have come across EFT, emotion freedom technique, and you may have heard an explanation that the mechanism of action is massaging or tapping on locations on the body, mainly the face, that are locations where acupuncture commonly inserts needles. And so the thinking has been that this is basically a variation on acupuncture, and the location on the face and upper body are locations where these subtle energy meridians that are the basis of Chinese medicine are located. And so you're activating, according to some theorists, you're unblocking these subtle energy meridians in the body and inducing a healthier mind-body state. Well, that's a good theory. I like it, and if you're content with that, then then go for it. That EFT, emotion freedom technique, is unblocking subtle energy meridians in the body, bringing health to various organs in the body, various systems in the body, and at a psychological level, reducing distressing emotions. Well, a professor, first in Korea, I believe in the 1960s, published a study that said, hey, wait a minute, I think there's something else going on. That study didn't get a lot of attention. And then another researcher picked it up again in Korea and said, wait a minute, those locations in the body are locations where very microscopic blood vessels are located, connective tissue is located, and massaging on those locations initiates a sequence of sending information to the brain, specifically the amygdala area of the brain. You may be familiar with the amygdala is a region of the brain that is really quarterbacking the fight, flight, freeze response. And so tapping or massaging on this particular set of locations on the face and the upper body is sending electrochemical signals, nerve information, from those locations to the amygdala and down-regulating the fight, flight, freeze response. Okay, so massaging or tapping these areas is communicating to the amygdala, telling the amygdala, there's no panic, there's no need for panic, this is not an emergency. Now, so that's one part of it. The other part of the effectiveness of emotional freedom technique is that we're not just tapping on these things, we're tapping on these things while we are trying, believe it or not, trying to make ourselves upset, distressed, or disturbed by the thing we want to resolve. For example, if I had a fear of flying, then I would think about getting on an airplane. I would actually try to conjure up the feeling of anxiety and fear, imagining myself getting on an airplane, and do the protocol of tapping. I'll say some things out loud, just simply to help me to focus on my fear and anxiety. So what we're doing is we're actually pairing. We're pairing two inputs. We're pairing fear and anxiety with this relaxation response, down-regulating the amygdala's fear response. And that combination, that pairing, is essentially the magic of emotion freedom technique. Okay? So in the next video, I'm going to demonstrate, and you'll see me doing the technique, targeting the particular kinds of issues that you're facing in your extremely difficult marriage. And you'll also witness the kind of the flexibility or the fluidity that the tapping points are specific, but what I'm saying at the same time is really quite fluid and flexible and can be adapted to your specific situation. Okay? So that's the science, that's the clinical research, and that's a bit of an intro. In the next video, you're going to see a demonstration. Strongly encourage you to tap along with my demonstration and observe the results that you experience. All right? So see you over there in the next video.